normally I don't really like to train like 14 attempts deep into something, but hey, if that says anything to like one more time, like it might hit.
What's up, guys? Today's guest is a professional tricker and member of the Colorado tricking community. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Mr. Andrew Kohrt. What's up, man?
What's going on, Travis? It's been a long time coming. You know, I've been watching the JAMCast for a long, long time, and I'm super stoked that you're having me on here. I'm super appreciative.
Dude, I appreciate you watching, and I appreciate you making the time to come. And this is also so cool to me because the Colorado tricking community has become such a large fixture within our world that, you know, I'm just trying to knock you guys off one at a time.
Yeah. No, it's crazy to live here and be actually in it. Feels like a gathering, like the whole time I've been here. And yeah, super stoked that all the people in the community are growing, and, you know, everybody's killing it up in Boulder and Denver and the Springs, you know, all these different areas. It's cool to adventure through. So yeah, man, yeah. It's awesome.
And I think what's crazy is I think when I first actually met you in person, I don't think you were living in Colorado yet. So like, where are you originally from?
Yeah. So I'm from Illinois, from Plainfield, Illinois. It's like about 15 minutes away from Chicago, you know. But yeah, so I started there. That's where, you know, I went through martial arts and everything. And then also kind of did a little bit of traveling in between moving from Illinois to Colorado. So that was for work. And then from there, pretty much went to Colorado Springs my first year of living here, and just kind of started up this next year in Littleton, Colorado, which is here at the Gren Haus. You know, we're always having people come through, trickers or, you know, parkour or whoever it is, you know, come through to the tricking scene, and you'll probably, you know, stop by the Gren Haus.
And so for those that may be unfamiliar with everyone that is a member of Gren Haus, who is currently living in there? I got to see young Ethan Turner pop his head through right before we started the interview.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. Like we've got me, Ethan, Annika, and also Quentin and Ryan, as well as John Alexander. I know I named those guys off pretty quick, but yeah, there's 6 of us living here. So yeah, definitely always something going on. And yeah, each one of them guys, I'm loving watching their journeys and them kill it in their own sense, you know?
That's amazing, man. It's cool. I remember back in the days when the Tricker House first was formulated, it was such like an amazing concept. And now it seems that there's like multiple, you know, for lack of a better term, tricker houses around the country.
So many tricker houses. Like, I mean, even one up in Boulder, which is about an hour from us north, they have got, you know, a tricker house around there, which is closer to Cats too. And they also have an outdoor spring floor. I mean, we have a floor inside the garage here. But yeah, that's it's pretty cool to see. They made a foam block floor, and we have just one with springs, but it's kind of small. Like, you know, it's just a garage. But yeah.
That is epic, man. That's super cool. I think I seen some clips of you recently training. I think I saw like the D-leg full. Is that from the garage?
Yeah. We're always in there, like, trying to see what we can do. I mean, James West has already done a double back in there, so I'm like, well, Ethan doing triple cork and stuff like that. Yeah, so.
I mean, to be fair, James West is doing double backs everywhere. I've never seen someone do as many standing dub backs as that man.
Yo, next time he's here, he's got to do a standing dub back in the garage. That'd be so tight.
So cool. And then just to put it in perspective, man, because as you kind of stated, and as I've had several guests on the JAMCast from all over Colorado, there are multiple tricking communities within Colorado. And I know you mentioned just recently you're in Littleton now. Is that like a suburb of Denver, or where's Littleton?
Yeah, so Littleton is closer to Denver, probably like 25 30 minutes away from like the city like area. I mean, you'll start to see like it's really Denver there, or like Centennial. But yeah, so that's kind of local in that area. And then I used to live in Colorado Springs, and that's where, Pikes Peak Tricking is. And with the Flip Shack hosts a lot of our sessions. And we know, like, now we have like trickers working there and stuff. So, on occasion, it's a little bit later. And it's a great community down there, especially it feels like you're really at home. At least, I don't know, moving there made me feel like, everybody's really there. Like, I don't know how to say it, but always having a good flow between, people going at the session, and, it's just kind of silly. Like, we're all just having fun there. And Denver up here, it's like really nice because we have Active's 5 minutes from my house right now. So like super available to, always be tricking, or, even going to hang out and part of the community during the session there. Uh-huh. And then, and then Boulder is like where I feel like it's a lot of like, it's vicious sometimes. It's just, you look across the floor and then everybody's like in their zone. They're really about to do probably the hardest stuff you'll see, from a lot of the Colorado scene. And it's interesting. It's a little bit of like, I want to put my bite in, but I'm also like, for other people that are beginning to trick, it's a little bit maybe hard for them to quite get in it. But the people that do, and, we all cheer them on anyway. Like, I mean, depending on whatever trick it is, if they're pushing themselves, I really want to make sure that, I don't know. My initial reaction is that I feel happy for them that they are pushing themselves, in the way that they want to. And that's what I like seeing in all the areas. But definitely Cats is one of the ones. It's a hard one to maybe go full on with,
Yes. And if I'm not mistaken, or if I'm incorrect, Boulder is where Cats is located?
Yeah, Boulder is where Cats is, sorry.
Okay. And how far is that in relation to where you are? How far of a distance is that?
Yeah, so that's like an hour. And like when I was living in the Springs, I would still go up to Cats probably twice a week. And that's like 2 hours away, So it's a bit of traveling, but now being in the middle, it's like I'm only going to like, not way too far away from my bed, instead of like, it's only an hour. Plus we have like probably a carpool of, 4 or 5 people. So.
And what was it that actually got you enticed to moving out to Colorado and to finally make that big leap, so to speak, and leave your hometown?
Yeah, man. So, I mean, I've been thinking about moving to Colorado ever since I saw the Tricking Tribe back in the day. I'll say it right now. I've got Nick Vale's first Tricking Tribe shirt ever sold. I got a little thing from him, like a little note. I'm a little kid reading that thing. I'm like, Tricking Tribe. I've really felt the energy even from being in my state. And the thing that I think really pushed me was being at Trick Hungry 3. I met the people that I moved to Colorado with, Eric Howard and Chris Cernahouse. They also decided to move to Colorado around the same time. They're from Wisconsin. We're Midwest boys, where it's going to be a good time, So, that's I really felt at Trick Hungry 3 at that gathering that I was really just going to give it my all in tricking and try to become the best that I can be. And I thought Colorado was the best place, at least in America. And plus, I thought I knew a lot of my friends that moved there too, and thought that was going to be the spot. And it seems like it's looking like more people are coming in too. So it's just kind of like this central hub for tricking, and I love being in it.
Hell yeah. And so I just recently had Levi Borrego on the JAMCast. His episode drops really soon. And he's actually a native of Colorado. So I'm going to ask you this as someone that moved from another state. Did the elevation impact you at first? And is it something you've come accustomed to? And do you actually see a difference in your training when you go to like other cities after that?
Yeah, so I've thought about it, and I feel like it doesn't really affect me too much, but I do feel like I cut through the air maybe faster in a way. I don't know. I just feel like I'm like when I am forced to, because I do feel a little bit of change, but it's not enough to make me woozy or anything. But I feel like it controls my breathing in a way a little bit more. And then like I went back to Illinois recently for Thanksgiving, and I got to have a session there, and I definitely felt like full of like juice, or just like full of everything I've been deprived of, you know, like you know, in the air wise, you know.
Yeah, people say it's a little bit easier when you go from elevation down to a little bit lower, you know.
Yeah. So I don't know. I try to think that, you know, I would, even when I went to Colorado like the first time for Trick Different 4 Quattro. Yeah, I think that one was the first one I went to here. Yeah, that time I tried to just think like, I'm gonna trick hard as I can, no matter what. Like, you know, no matter the effects of the elevation change, you know. But I don't know. I think that. What's up?
I was gonna say, so like geographically, like you kind of talked about how you're from Chicago, but like let's talk about like the origins of your movement journey. Like, how did you first get into movement? Was it tricking exclusively? Did you start with martial arts, or what do you credit it to?
Yeah, so I mean, I started martial arts when I was 7, and it was Taekwondo. Super self-defense based martial arts school, though. You know, they really focused on, you know, getting up and out, and, you know, making sure you phase out the situation and everything. And I mean, I was young going through Taekwondo, and I got onto the demo, and my instructor for the demo team and most of the classes I was doing, he showed me when I was later on a black belt to do a 540 and a kip up. And from there, I was doing tricking moves, but maybe not necessarily like tricking exactly. I feel like just the vision of what I had tricking in my head when I first heard it has definitely changed a lot till, you know, the point that we're at today. Instead of doing like, you know, 540 to a kip up to a, you know, like it's like, yeah, it's a little bit different. But yeah, from there, you know, his name was Mr. Allecton. So Allecton, you know, showed me to go to YouTube and just kind of type up tricking. And then from there, I saw a Steve Tirada video. And I know this sounds like pretty much like any, you know, martial artist that, you know, has come through in America, you know, but...
Steve's a legend in the game, man. Everyone saw Steve Tirada videos back then.
Yeah, you know, the full round, you know, like that one got me, man. Like I was stoked. I was in it, you know. I'd go to sessions that was about 10 minutes away from me at my local gym, and I pretty much didn't have too many training partners like going along the way. Like at least in the beginning, there'd be some that come and go, but you know, nobody that really stuck through to actually like push to do like the next move, because I was so excited to do the next move. And but yeah, I had Mike Soko. He actually moved out here a little bit around the time I did too. But he really pushed me, you know, to push the tricks out really hard. I mean, I don't feel like I had a good, maybe I kind of had an awkward body type when I was first tricking, I feel like, but I knew the kicks were like looking better than like my flipping. So I always went with like kicking skills and, higher vert rotations. And once I did it vertically, I felt like I was way better off when I would try to do it either horizontally or inverted in some ratio. So yeah, martial arts, it's a great thing. I think it set me on a good path to try to think of tricking the way I do now.
That's cool. And obviously, like you said, you didn't really have anyone to really train with or like a gigantic community out there comparative to what you have now. So how were you able to learn those first fundamental tricks? Were you literally going off of YouTube in order to learn things, or how were you able to gain exposure? Was it just trial and error?
Oh man, I mean, it's just kind of trial and error. And I had a couple of friends that I saw did backflips at open gym, at least, and I knew like that was possible, and I knew like if I worked up to it, I could, be able to do it. But yeah, I did B-twists a lot, and I think that my cart full technique, or like full cork, full, like that just turned into my full technique. So it's like a little bit around the side, but also over the top a little bit. So that really kind of set my axis for being at least sideways and not fully over the top for a long, long time. And still even, I feel like it shows today, but just in a different way.
And just to put it in perspective, how old were you? You said you started martial arts at 7. How old were you when you think you started your tricking journey specifically?
Yeah, so I remember doing a 540 when I was, I think, 12, and I couldn't backflip till I was 13. But I already went to Neo 2 because so I went to Neo 2 because I was like, Dad, you got to see this Michael Guthrie guy. He's crazy. And I saw a post from Towels on the Facebook page about Neo 2. And I'm like, can we go? And my grandparents, my dad, and me all went to Ohio from Illinois. And we went out to Neo 2 and met Matt Milhone, and really set a good like face for tricking, I feel like, at the time. Like not even like tricks, but also like, meeting the right people and like just seeing how like the love of the community is at one of the biggest gatherings in that kind of time frame. So
wow, that is such a crazy story, man. I can't believe your entire family got in a car and headed down to a gathering. And it also just shows the importance of gatherings to people around the world, of why we throw them. It can inspire someone like yourself who's now a fixture in the community.
Thank you. Yeah, no, big appreciation to my dad, especially because my dad would take me to every single martial arts practice, like sit in the chair, watch diligently, like he's a black belt dad. Like he knows like all the moves, and he would sit at, sessions and, before I could drive and everything. And yeah, definitely like took me to my first gathering. Like, no, big respect. I couldn't have done like that whole upbringing part without, my family, and, they were all supportive of tricking, thankfully, throughout when I was a kid, because they thought it was like kind of the extension of martial arts, which is kind of true, but it's also like its own thing in its way,
Yeah, 100%. And so obviously you started tricking when you, I guess, like you said, were around age 12. So how many years does that mean you have been tricking at this point currently? And how many days a week were you training back in those like fundamental years, when you're still in school?
Yeah. So I was probably tricking for about 9 years now. Well, yeah, 9 years. No, when I was tricking in school, I felt like a lot of, especially high school, it felt like I was like really in it. So I remember, where was I going? Oh, yes. I remember pretty much like beating my body up during the weekend and then say like recharging all of the school week, like, and then just crush it, like just annihilating my body, like just I'm just trying to figure out these flips, and I was just looking at every single piece of tricking content I could honestly get my hands of technique, or whatever new skill is, or what my body eventually just kind of naturally wanted to do, and that's kind of what I've been just kind of rolling with now. But yeah, through school, I mean, when I went to, that was pretty much through like high school, and I went to a little bit of college, but I'm not going to any schooling around here. I'm just like working right now. Yeah, through like college, I'd go to like the campus and everything, do some tricks over there. But yeah, mostly I'd be working at the martial arts school, and then also working at this poster photography company that I met with the people that started it through martial arts school. So I was their teacher. So I eventually, did a little bit with them, and then they got way more into the tricking stuff. They were talking to me about it, and they were the people that helped me with like Unleashed, which is like not necessarily a thing that I feel good about, but I feel like everybody had a good time there, and I just wanted to run a gathering in my hometown, which I don't feel like we've had a big one ever. We've always had like Windy City Tricker mini gatherings, going to the mini gathering, just everybody in Illinois, comes together for a day or so, But yeah, through school, that's kind of how it was, still trying to trick like really hard, not going to too many gatherings until I was like about 18 or so, other than like Neo. I'd go to Neo like every year. But yeah, other than that, it was just at the martial arts school training there too.
And now, just to have a comparative, number, obviously you mentioned that you would beat yourself up on the weekends in school and then recover. Now that you're not in school, and you kind of can make your own schedule, how many days a week are you training now in Colorado?
Yeah, so now I just beat myself all the time. No, so it ranges for sure. Like, depends on my body, like 100%. But probably it's probably 4 days a week. We have a lot of sessions here, and whether they're close by or in kind of different areas, it's I really like to set my day if I'm going to trick that day. Like, I really want to make sure I eat 2.5 hours before I trick, and I really want to make sure I do things like during my day, like get up and really want to do something and feel like I'm productive during that day, so that at the end of the day when I'm tricking, like I'm doing this all, like right now I'm working 2 jobs, I'm coaching and I'm doing this picture stuff, and I go to the session and I'm really feeling to myself like I gotta push my hardest because that's what I'm here for, and that's what really pushes me nowadays for sessions. But yeah, about 4 days a week. I think that's give or take a day. I think it could end up being some good training for lots of people, for sure.
And so, like, you used a very specific term multiple times, which is beating your body up. So I just have to ask, have you sustained any major injuries along this 9-year tricking career? And then secondly, on the back end of that, do you do any maintenance or anything in order to try to avoid those and mitigate them?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm just kind of playing around, but it is a beat. Like, some of them, I've been having some crash landings, like recently, because of some of the tricks I've been trying. And of course, I'm trying to find the best way to not have crash landings or like hard landings, or a landing where my foot is in a position where I don't want it to be. With like the double flips, I try to go, pseudo double flips. I try to go around myself in a way that it doesn't quite crash like a double flip really would. So that recently has been helping. But I have been doing what I've been pulling up for a lot of people this week and last week was the Dodgens ankles tutorial.
Titanium ankles.
Titanium ankles. Guys, if you don't know about this, please go and watch it, because I've been doing it. I think I'm 9 days. This will be my 9th day in a row doing it. I've been trying to, strengthen my ankles up a lot more. And because it's been really prominent in my head, or just in like life for me, that I'm not always going to have a body that's super, malleable. So, this is probably one of the most stretchy my body is going to be, possibly. So I want to make sure that I'm always keeping up on that. And of course I would go to in high school, I would go to the gym a lot more because we had our gym class weight training. And so a little bit of that, I think from teaching martial arts and doing push-ups and sit-ups and all the stuff with them, and also working at this gymnastics place, I think being active every single day, working those muscles, is keeping me relatively sustainable, other than just my tricking.
And so you alluded to this earlier. I probably should have stopped you then and asked specifically about it, but you kind of said that when you first started your tricking journey, you felt like you had a unique body type. Could you kind of get into what you meant by that, and were you able to grow out of that, or was it something that you had to do specifically through training or molding your body in order to get to the level you're at now?
Yeah, no, I think I was just kind of as just a little white boy. I don't know. I was just very I knew I could use my legs in a strong way, but it wasn't maybe precise in my head on what I needed to do. So I would just try to strengthen all of it, or more so like that, just be tight, be strong. And I think through tricking, I know I haven't done a lot of trampoline training, and I think that if I were to train on trampoline when I was little, I feel like my tricking would be way different. But not saying that I don't like the martial arts background and everything, but I do think it would have a different effect on my flipping capability and just my overall awareness of where I was in the air, at least in the beginning more. But I had something else. The awkward body. I would see all these trickers doing swing throughs, and I could tell that swing through corks and gainer switches were a pretty prime thing in tricking, and that showed that you had a lot of control, and they were really aware of flip in their body. So in 2017, I went to loop kicks, and I was talking to Abel Martin, I remember, and he really kind of put it in my head of what a cork really is, kind of it really connected with me, of the hips of and your head teeter-tottering, around itself, and just then from there I pretty much just trained a lot of swings instead of kicks, and then kind of fell in love with that feeling of man, once you do past once you're going for a little bit and you really feel the rhythm of it, you're in tune with your body, it's a different satisfaction than it is to even land a clean kick or something like that. So
okay, that makes a lot of sense, man. And so have you sustained any major injuries along the road, or have you been able to avoid some?
Yeah, so the injuries, I've had definitely a couple of knee injuries. I feel like my knees are most like susceptible to my injuries compared to like of just taking note of the ones that I've had, just like little things like my MCL has had some problems, but I've worn a knee brace before, but now I don't, because I think I've worked it enough to be strong enough. But other than that, I know my back has had, my back's been twisted and like compressed before. And I feel like sometimes I still feel like that affects some things, but it doesn't really affect like most weeks, but on occasion it'll act up, which is something I'm really like, you only get one back, you know. I really want to make sure I, you know, take care of that stuff. But yeah.
And so do you do anything for maintenance at this point? And a question that I always ask guys that are known for, you know, being powerful trickers like yourself is, what is your level of flexibility? And is that something that you focus on?
Yeah, so I think I'm pretty flexible, relatively in my like middle split stretch. And that's like my best one, which a lot of, you know, that's like not very common, I guess. But I mean, in martial arts, that's like, I mean, we go into it every day, or like that's the one I definitely choose. So yeah, that one. And I feel like I'm relatively good at like the splits and different ways. I can use my shoulders in Gumby to like relatively okay extent. Not maybe like the most flexible shoulders out there, but I think it definitely does the job for the tricks that I try to do. But yeah, I definitely stretch every day. Like, I think that I'm in this, and I try to, I definitely straddle stretch every day, whether I'm sitting, you know, downstairs talking to everybody, or like if we're anywhere. That's what I've been doing as a kid even too. So like my dad will tell you, I've been always hamstring stretching everywhere.
That's awesome.
But one of the things I do want to get a little bit better at is my ankles, just because I just feel like I watch my videos and I'm just like, dude, I gotta make sure these are gonna be okay, because I don't want to make a wrong move. And you know, I feel like I've been lucky in that sense that I, you know, have strengthened them up to be at least holding what they do.
100%. No, I think it's good that you're already thinking ahead, and the shout out to Titanium Ankles is hilarious because that tutorial has existed for almost a decade online and people still reference it.
15 years, it said. Like, what? I remember when I first saw it, and I don't know, I thought it was like relatively already like an older video, you know, from like maybe an older tricker or something, you know, letting the youngins know.
It has that vibe too, with the way it's even edited with the text in the beginning. It's like 6, 7, 9 minutes of text in the intro. I'm like, what is happening here?
It's so fun. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah. And so obviously with someone that had a martial arts background like yourself, you even mentioned it, how you initially just played to your strengths and to your body type by focusing mostly on vertical access kicks, even at a high level, and then transitioning to, you know, horizontal and inverted access. What was the tipping point when you were able to, I guess, make a breakthrough on that, and how were you able to achieve it, just for maybe some of these kids out here that are, you know, born into the martial arts world and are a little intimidated about getting into this, you know, invert and flipping type of world?
Yeah, I think that for tricking flips, there's our tricking cork axis that, you know, everybody tries to aspire to. And I feel like I've worked my way from the, like you said, from the zero to this angle. And the way that I went about it was B-twist at first, like I said. But then when I noticed about how my shoulders and hips were, if I brought my shoulders down and not my hips up, then that would be bad. But then, you know, so I was like really trying to play with like the sideways version of that. So like in a full, in a cart full, it's like 270, not, you know, a 360 degree. So I would really try to do that basic with my shoulders and hips, but facing like you sideways, like this way. So because of that, it kind of just, the more I face forward, I would try to like just lean my opposite shoulder and my opposite hip just slightly more and more. And it's going to take some carving, but it eventually, I feel like works and feels good once you like really carve at the axis. Even though I know for a long time I thought I wasn't gonna do a lot of corks or a lot of like, I don't know, I thought I wasn't gonna do a lot of the like power moves or anything, but it's just, you gotta keep doing it and keep grinding it out at the certain axis that, you know, looking over your shoulder a little bit more at a 45 with, you know, where your eyes are looking. And that's kind of what I'm seeing more as I'm trying to do like a fake flip at the end of some of the things that I'm doing, which is like I can feel which ones are more inverted than others, because like I can tell of my axis of where I'm like looking or where I'm spotting. But just like the realization that my hips and shoulders need to work together in like the actual way that it needs to go. And there are slow progressions that you can do to do that from a non-inverted like background, for sure.
Totally. And I would say you're like, you know, for lack of a better term, you're part of the newer generation of trickers who, in my opinion, one of the things we're most jealous of is the accessibility to filming on your phone and slow motion and stuff like that. So how do you continue to improve upon yourself? Are you someone that does a lot of film study personally, or are you someone that just believes in repetition upon repetition? What do you think are the keys to success in your personal training?
Yeah, the more I trick, I feel like, at least recently, I've been putting my phone up like forever. Like I have a specific angle that, you know, I would always put up the phone at a place back in Illinois, you know, or, you know, I'm always putting it on a beam or something like that. I think that way I can see the trick as like it's on a piece of paper and I can analyze it. If it has a mirror, get the mirror angle, because then I have two angles. And I always watch my last trick that I do nowadays before I go for another trick. Might be that there's a lot of people at session and like, you know, I'm just like, look at my clip real quick and then, you know, set it back up. Or like, I think it is a little bit that I want to make sure I know exactly where my body is going, how my body's moving today, like last moment movement, not like last week, because I'm just trying to fix little things with where my arms are, or where, you know, how my feet come together, you know, things like that. So I definitely think it's a lot better to have my phone or like my camera like standing up, rather than like studying some footage that is like somebody recording it. Like when I just feel like I study it a lot better when it's a still like picture frame in front of me. But I do like to have people record it for like a sampler or Instagram clips or, you know, whatever it is.
So I have to ask on the back end of this, because, you know, we do deep dives on the JAMCast, obviously. One thing that I noticed specifically is that your YouTube, you've eliminated all videos except from a year ago. Is there a reasoning behind that? Or did you delete old stuff, or is there a hidden channel out there somewhere?
So if you go Andrew Kohrt on YouTube, there's two channels. One's from pretty much 2019 and back, and then 2020 and forward. And I thought it would be a good point for me to kind of see how I go from 2020 forward, because I feel like the 2014 through 2019 is like a different person.
That's a good answer.
Also, I think I had a different email attached to the other account, so I just linked this new one with everything, just because I thought it would be easier. But I like the split because it feels like actually to prepare for this, I watched a couple of those videos, to see like, where have I come from trick wise, and trying to see how that went. And yeah, it's I was in just different places of my life, different steps, and I'm here now, and I honestly don't know necessarily where it will be going, but I know I'll be probably here for a good couple of years. So.
Okay. Dude, that's awesome, man. And I'm just gonna throw this out there to you and to any of our younger listeners that are out there. Do not take for granted that your stuff's on YouTube. Make sure you guys save your clips, and obviously they'll be on the internet. But one thing that happened to me specifically is before Google took over YouTube, you could just have a YouTube account. And I ran into this problem recently where I was like almost heartbroken. I'm trying to solve this problem, but Bailey Payne wanted to see some of my old clips from like 20 years ago. And I have an old original YouTube channel that was before the Google takeover that no one will be able to find. It's spelled out like LILTI2AVIS. And I stupidly put all the videos on private because I was like, as I got better and got older, I was like, oh, I don't want all this old trash out there. And now I can't log into that account, and I'm not able to access any of my old clips that have like my first ever B twist swing cork, like my first ever anything is now in the abyss somewhere, and I'm hoping I can get it off these old laptops. So just be careful, guys.
That is insane. I mean, damn, yo, that really sucks. Like that hits, because I mean, those are true memories. Like I think about, like right now, I'm saving for a sampler, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm just like keeping these clips on my phone, and every time I'm like, I know it's on the cloud, I guess now, but yeah, no, I'm just like, I want to make sure that, I put out my videos because I remember Instagram originally, I guess it's kind of changed over time, but it was just like, it still is just my tricks, my compilation of the tricks that I've done. And I like to look back and sometimes scroll back real deep, and, we're looking over with the people from the house, and it's cool to look back at the memories. So yes, definitely put your clips out there, and don't be afraid to put your clips out there. Have your first sampler be what it is, like have it be exactly what your first sampler is going to be,
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be anything super special, like except for it will be to you. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it's important. That's why it's important.
Yeah, I hope kids take that away to not be intimidated by having footage that maybe you're not necessarily the most proud of out there. If anything, it's just for your own memories and sake. And that's what's tough. My new channel only has clips from 2008 on. And so I'm missing everything from like 1998 to 2008. It's like 10 years, and all of my first ever landed. Everything that I did ever first in the world is all gone until I can get it off some laptops, hopefully.
Dude, that's insane. I hope some miracle happens, and I hope you could please, fingers are crossed,
Wow.
But yeah, no, I don't think like my first sampler or anything was that, like, I just like that I was in it enough to put some tricks together and, put it out there, be a part of the community. And it was like, that was what was awesome to me.
Totally, man, totally. And so, like, as you continued to progress in your tricking and you started to get more accustomed and I guess familiar with off-axis tricks and higher level flips, now we're seeing you do moves, from full and back out to double Nike and things like this. Are there tricks? Is there any trick specifically that you were the most proud of achieving, or was one the most difficult, I guess, to obtain?
Yeah. I mentioned the gathering before, Trick Hungry 3.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time I did cork in, back out, or cork in.
Yeah.
Cork in. But it was was dope. I thought it was like, I mean, I couldn't have imagined a more perfect like setting for myself, and like I was just in it to like really, push myself at its fullest. Like my first full in back out was in January, and then the cork in was in February, and I was just like, I was amped up on this like axis that I felt like just my body is allowing me to be able to do, and relatively safely, and I thought it looked pretty cool. And yeah, that moment specifically, I went in the gym, and that was my mission, to land cork in, like, because I thought I could do it, and I've been able to do punch full ins out of master scoot and like all that, like before being at the gathering. And it took an hour of like 14 attempts, and we ended up doing it. But normally I don't really like to train like 14 attempts deep into something, but hey, if that says anything to like one more time, like it might hit. And yeah, I barely like landed it, but it was like the best celebration of, I feel like, my whole tricking career. And it was like a really good moment. I felt like I was on 10. Like that was the best.
Yeah. And so now, not to put any undue pressure on yourself, so if you'd rather not answer this, you can. It's something that I preface with to all the guys that I ask this question to. Is there anything that you're chasing still?
Yeah, of course. Like, I definitely want to be landing like, well, the next one that I feel like would be my big hit would be like double full in. So cartwheel, probably, I'm guessing. But still, it's going to look like a tricker double full in. Like, it's going to be what it is, and can't be what it's not. But it will be what it is. But yeah, so I mean, just venturing into like this axis of, flips is my kind of goal here, because I don't know, I see Shosei doing it for like a couple of things, even years back. I'm studying things from 2019 from Shosei, like all the time. Like there's like a way to do it, and yeah, specifically on like tricks, if I could do a pseudo triple flip, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool.
That would be wild, man. And just off the back end of that, of how you go back and study stuff from Shosei from 2019, is there any trickers that you currently continue to watch for inspiration, or is there anyone out there that is part of your, Andrew Kohrt playlist of trickers that you need to watch?
Yeah, I mean, oh geez, so many, man. I just okay, couple like all right, Tommy Teagues.
Yeah.
He had the full in axis before any of these guys. He had with that, but I mean, trickers I watch nowadays, I watch like everybody nowadays pretty much. I mean, Instagram's kind of like in that feed for me. I really enjoy Anatoly and the Russians a lot, like the Stefan Bergatov, and I've been watching what's his, there's a lot of Japanese guys as well, and yeah, he's got like numbers in his username, and I don't even know like maybe half of their names, but like there's a lot of like the weird, or like the, I guess you could call, but they're just moving interestingly, and I want to get into the things that, because I feel like I've gone through a lot of the traditional like tricking stuff, like through like kicks and full axis and the twisting, but I really want to get it to where it's that Rocket Boy twist, Rocket Boy, from Guthrie, or that, like, just how did he quite bend himself in that way, you know? Like that's that stuff I really like watching too. But let's see, name dropping. Tiki Wu is a great example of tricking right now. I think he's like a good one for us nowadays to also watch. I mean, I'm constantly, you know, seeing Ethan and Jordan and all of them as well. So it's like, we're talking tricks 24/7. You want to come to a gathering? It's here in Colorado. But yeah.
And with that being said, man, like obviously being in the Colorado tricking community, which we've talked about at length, is growing and becoming this massive beast in itself. What is that like, getting the chance to train with these guys? Is it something you prefer to do in group sessions? Do you thrive off of having people? Do you prefer solo sessions? And do you ever feel like pressure, I guess, from being around so many high level trickers? Is there any like, you know, innate competition, I guess, amongst you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one. I do feel like on occasion, I do feel like there's high level athletes right on the same floor with me, and just do something that I would need years more of training to do, and maybe they've been tricking around the same time or less than me. And you know, personally, how does that feel for me? I mean, I got my own stuff going on. I feel like I have my moves that I do, you know, and we're all in it for the love. And I try not to put it too much in my head of like the tricks as like a label to each person in their like, I don't know how to quite say it, but you know what I'm saying, in the sense that I don't really want to have them like, my first thought is always, I'm happy for them. Like, I'm so excited for their tricking career to be building. And like, I guess I don't think about all that in one thing, but I'm just stoked to be around everybody. And I feel like I do thrive a lot more in a setting with a lot of people rather than just like alone. I don't know, I just like being silly during session. I just like being just feeling it out, and having everybody there really pushes me, because I see them trying their hardest stuff and I want to try, you know, my hardest stuff. Or, you know, if they do a certain type of trick, it might you know, have me think of how my body would be able to do like a line of whatever they some type of way of whatever they were doing, and pushes me a lot in that way. Try to get well-rounded in that way.
Okay. And so for someone that's been in the scene for as long as yourself and had the martial arts background and now ventured into the world of twisting and double flips and going for pseudo triple flips, like you said, maybe down the road, and also being surrounded by such incredible talent, do you think there's a cap for the next level of tricking? Do you think that we're going to see these quint corks? Do you think we're going to hit a certain level, or what do you think is still left out there for us to venture into in this wide world of tricking?
Dude, I was literally thinking about this one. I was like, man, are we going to hit the 100 corks? Like, are we going to hit the 444s? Like, I think it's definitely possible with like anything that has been done already. I think can be connected to anything else that has been done already. So that's a lot. There's a lot going in that. So I think we're gonna see a cap on twisting, and you know, vertically and you know, upside down. But once that starts to happen, that's when I feel like, you know, the pseudo axis, because there's different ways you can do the pseudo axis, and what's really happening is you're elongating the twist in the flip, in a double flip. So like one foot's doing a full and the other foot's doing a double back. And so like I'm imagining that we would just start putting more twists in higher level flips like that. Like you know how Nike in full out, like I could imagine that's how trickers would do like layout in full out, or like that's our version maybe, or like I don't know, it could go lots of different ways. I think there's gonna start to be maybe a thing with unwind and with dark side stuff. Like I could just later on, I mean, I don't even know, like a full snafu one way and snafu the other way, like, you know, just like always I can just start to see if people had really good feeling on both sides, that they could integrate Crocs, Corks, Rapfuls, Muggle Slayer, like all the one connect together, like with its counterpart on its dark side. So I could see that too. So
crazy.
Maybe in double. We'll see.
Crazy, man. And so just along the lines of that, man, this is something I ask everyone before we get out of here. It's like, obviously we don't know where tricking could go, and we may not know the answer to this one, but I'm just curious to get your answer. You know, where do you personally see yourself 5 years from now? And then where are you seeing yourself 10 years from now?
Oh my gosh.
You knew this one was coming. You've watched the episodes.
Dude, this is like I just had that like I'm looking at my screen right now. I got Travis asking me this. This is gonna be a embedded memory. 5 years from now, I could see within the next 5 years, like I said, staying in Colorado and definitely doing all of the tricking that I can do. Also, hopefully to make other ventures of like businesses or something around those lines so that I could start to support myself with it a little bit more. In the past, I've tried to, like do like Spider-Man birthday parties or like run a type of gathering that would try to make money or stuff like that. But I don't know, I just want to do something that would be really wholesomely connected to the community that they would also like to support. And I'd like to get something started within this time frame, the 5 years, and then 10 years. I didn't even know I was gonna be here like 2 years ago, so I could honestly go each year. Honestly, it feels like it's going by with like, well, that's new, or so it could go anyway, but I definitely could see myself either staying in Colorado for like longer time period, or possibly even trying to connect with other places in the world, like other countries, to see how like Belu runs his places, or like his business, or like how Skillas does, or I want to see how that all works out for everybody's individual life, and kind of, I don't know, I want to decide for myself on whether I want to have like a gym, or if I really want to dedicate my time towards like something specifically. But I feel like it should be in tricking, because that's what I've devoted a lot of my time to, and it feels like where it's going. So
hell yeah, man. No, I'm super anxious to see where it goes, man. You've been someone that I've been fortunate to watch and follow over the years, and I still remember the first time I met you in person at a gathering, and you left an impression on me just by the way that you carried yourself. And it's great to finally get the chance to sit down here and just share with the world a little bit of your personal story.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. It's an honor, and to be on this with all the other people that have been before me, like that's so crazy to me. Like if I could tell myself, like as a young kid, it would motivate me so much. It would be like, no way. Like, yeah, I loved seeing the JAMCast with your father. It was amazing.
Thank you.
Just wanted to put that in there.
Thank you for watching it, man. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all the support. And more than anything, I appreciate you coming on here to hopefully inspire some future generations, and just continue to do what you're doing, man. It's not going forgotten, and we're all watching it. And so, before we get out of here, can you just let people know how they can continue to stay up to date with everything you got going on and follow your own personal tricking journey and everything else?
Yeah, so Andrew Kohrt on Instagram. Kohrt is the last name. I've also with the Gren Haus, so we'll be posting there too a lot more. Yeah, that's where you can find us.
Hell yeah. Guys, with that being said, please be sure to hit the like button, comment, subscribe for brand new episodes each and every week. Join us every Monday for jam breakdowns and every Friday for brand new JAMCast, interviewing influential members of the movement community like Mr. Andrew Kohrt himself. So with that being said, guys, I gotta give one more very special shout out. Thanks for coming through, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Hell yes. And as always, guys, coming at you, coming through, I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining us here on another JAMCast. Until next time, we'll see you all soon. Peace.